gon' do it how you want it. Boss talk, yeah, everybody on it. Boss talk, it's a unique hustle.
Check it. This is Unique Hustle. It's your boy ECO, and I'm here with the lovely, amazing, official Miss Jamaica out here in Los Angeles, California.
Well, go on, Madeo. I want y'all to stop what you're doing right now. Go like, subscribe, follow us on all social media platforms. When I mean all, I mean all. Our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, you name it, we're on it. Just Google us, Boss Talk Podcast 101. We'll pop up first in line, I guarantee you. But y'all see us in the street and talk about, man, I love what y'all doing. Keep up the good work. How can we support the brand? How can we be a part of Boss Talk? This is how you can be a part of Boss Talk. Under each and every video on our YouTube channel, right here below in the description section, there's a link that says join our membership. Click that link, follow all the instructions, and that's where you see all the exclusive content. Man, y'all been asking us, where's this interview, where's that interview? You have to be a member to see it. Thank me later, and thank you for all the love and support.
Man, listen, I got a guy here today. I've been chasing him ever since I started this dang thing, man. I love this guy, man, because of what he do for the culture. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. There's a few you watch him, and you really don't know if you believe some of the stories you hear. But this guy here is so believable and so genuine. Money B is in the building. What up, Bay?
Thank you guys for having me.
Man, thank you for coming, man. Like I said, I've been wanting this interview because of the respect I have for your storytelling, the way that the podcast is. You looking at everybody, and then when I seen, I was like, man, he the only one left now. I gotta get this guy on the show, man.
Yep, man, that's crazy when you think about it. Right?
It is, ain't it?
Dang.
And I had an opportunity to meet Shock G, right?
Right.
At the Palms Hotel. I always stay there ever since 07. Okay. And so one time he was there, man, having a good time, kicking it. Everybody was kicking
the spot.
It. Yeah, that's where I be. Right. So a lot of people I ran into at Palms, man, and he was there, man. He was just kicking it, man, and having such a nice time and a good conversation. I didn't have no podcast or nothing. Just talking to him like, that's Humpty Hump, man. That's Shock G, man. I was on everybody. I'm telling all my partners. That's him right there, right. So, man, like, how did you and him first meet?
We met through, well, first of all, so Digital Underground actually had a record out, Underwater Rhymes, in 1988.
Okay. Before
me and DJ Fuse were a part of the group.
Wow.
Right? So we were called Raw Fusion. It was myself, DJ Fuse, and Mac Moan. But Shock G and Chop Master J were promoting Underwater Rhymes. So in Oakland and in the East Bay Area, we were like on the talent show, just trying to get exposure circuit. So we would see them, a couple of shows. So I knew who they were, but when I actually first got to meet them was a meeting that took place in my mom's apartment, because they needed a DJ.
Wow.
And at the time, DJ Fuse was like one of the hottest DJs in the Bay, but he was my DJ.
Yeah.
And it just so happened at the time, he was renting a room in my mom's apartment.
Wow.
So they had this meeting that I really wasn't supposed to be at with my DJ, but these dudes come in, and they was a couple of years older than me. I'm probably like 18 or 19 at the time. In 88, 18 or 19. And Shock was like 5 or 6 years older.
Wow.
Right? So when they come in the house, walking past my mama looking like, what is you doing? Because who is these old niggas coming in here, right? Dressed, Shock had on the little beret and tassels on his Pumas or whatever the hell. He didn't look like somebody that I would be hanging around. So my mom looking at me like,
who is this?
You buying drugs? What you doing? Like,
that's really what they thought back in them days.
You know what I mean? Like, you got this strange dude.
Yeah, that's a crack era.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we had some issues, but I'm talking about
for sure.
That was right outside my door.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And it was just kind of weird because we're sitting there having a meeting, or they're having a meeting, and I'm watching these dudes trying to convince my DJ to go with them.
Yeah.
And I'm just kicking back, right? But it was Chop Master J and DJ Fuse. They had a mutual friend.
Wow.
That's how that happened. And they also, Sleuth, who was our manager, knew those guys as well.
Yeah.
So it was like, that circle of people But at the end of the day, Fuse agreed to work with them as
Yeah.
long as they worked with us.
Wow.
Because we're a group.
Y'all,
Stay down.
when I first heard about y'all, I think it was more of the Humpty Hump and all that. Yeah, everything was going so crazy for back then. That song blew up so far. Was you was with them then? Were you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Like how was that to even? How did that even come together like that? You know, that was something I always. My daughter loved that song. Even when like this is years later, I put her on it. Like as a kid, she was like, I love that. So did she? She was like every time I look in the bathroom, I'm like, she loved this song. I couldn't believe it because so many years that passed by. But how did you guys even come up with that concept and just come up with that whole? That was brilliant, actually.
The song.
Well,
No,
the
not
wild-
just the song, the whole concept around it.
Okay.
Well, the wild part about that song is it wasn't even supposed to be on the album.
Really?
We completed the album, right? And it didn't have the Humpty Dance or Freaks of the Industry on it.
Oh, Freaks of the
And
Industry.
what happened
hard.
was one of the songs that we thought was going to be a big song for us, we couldn't clear the sample. It had a Kraftwerk sample in that we couldn't clear, so we had to go back in and record some more music. And the Humpty Dance and Freaks of the Industry were the two songs that were recorded.
And what song was that y'all thought that was gonna be so big?
It's a song called "Sound of the Underground." Right, I still have it on cassette.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and it was like I said, it sampled Kraftwerk, Man Machine. Even though you know that MC Light used
Yeah.
it,
Oh,
Jay-Z
yeah,
used
that
it.
yeah.
A bunch of people used it. For some reason, we couldn't
You
clear
still
it.
couldn't clear
couldn't get
it.
it cleared. You never
couldn't.
got it cleared?
We never got it clear. Well, when
Wow.
we couldn't,
Was that
just
the one
moved
she
on.
would kick this one here for me and my DJ?
Yeah.
That was that one there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Fearless Four used it for rocking it.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
And and Shock really, really loved Kraftwerk. So he was heartbroken that we couldn't get
Couldn't
that.
use it,
Couldn't
yeah.
use it. But I guess it was a blessing, right? Because it had made us go back and record those songs. The other thing is that when you talk about the character, how that concept
Yeah,
came,
yeah,
did
yeah.
you remember Humpty was in the Do What You Like video, which was in
Sure was.
the single before that.
Do what you like.
But
yeah.
when we made that video, Humpty didn't have a name. It was just a character. Because if you go back and watch Do What You Like, we were a bunch of characters.
Yeah.
We were wearing Groucho noses,
Yeah,
pig
yeah,
noses,
yeah, sure was.
cow noses.
Yeah.
We were just going crazy doing whatever.
So that's when the character first popped up?
That's when the character first popped up. And I think it was a character that he had, but it really didn't have a name. You know, the character was actually on the record, right? But it wasn't until I think I take that back because we did right before. But people were asking, "Who's that? You know, who's that guy? Who's that guy?" So then I think, and obviously I wasn't in the room, but for what I understand, the label asked us to do something that included that character.
Wow.
And I remember, you know, one night, because at the time when we were recording Sex Packets, our manager Sleuth and Shock shared a house that was owned by Sleuth's mom
Okay.
in Oakland, but it was that was like our hangout, right? But that was also where we kind of, you know, we would cook.
Yeah,
make
yeah,
the
yeah,
music
for
and
sure.
whatever. So I remember one night, Shock was like, you know, me and Fuse about to work on this beat, right? You want to kick it or whatever? I was like, hell nah. I was like, I'm going out. You know what I'm saying?
Damn right.
I was in them streets.
Yo, man, we ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah, I was like, I'll be back, right?
Yeah.
So I went out, and I think that was the same night because I used our manager Sleuth,
Okay.
His car.
His car, yeah.
right?
Well, we'll use a car
So
back in them days.
so I remember coming back to the house, you know, I'm out, drunk, whatever.
Of course.
And then, so I'm kicking it, and Sloop goes, man, what you do to my car? I was like, what you talking about? And I went outside, and there was a big scrape.
Wow.
I was like, damn. I
I remember that happening.
don't worry about it. And then they was like, check this out. And they played that song, the Humpty Dance, on a 4-track.
Wow.
And I was like, bro, we out of here.
You knew it
Yeah.
was crazy.
When I first heard it on the 4-track,
You knew.
I still have that version as well.
Wow. So you keep all the you keep
I keep everything.
keep everything.
I was the collector.
That's good.
And then when that happened, did you say, "Oh, we got to create a dance to this"?
No.
So how did the dance come about?
So we had the song, and then there's a long story about when we finally took it to the big studio.
Yeah.
And then we had to re-record it a few times to get the same, because the night that they made it on the 4-track, they was hanging out.
Yeah.
So, they was drinking and partying and whatnot. So when we went in the studio, something just wasn't right. You know what I mean? And so I remember one night we was in there and I was like, bro, how we gonna get this thing together? And I was like, Hennessy.
Hey.
Because that's what shot out the drink.
Right.
I
Yeah.
got some Hennessy and that thing worked out.
It worked out.
Yeah, we got that real Humpty Hump in there. And but even after we recorded the song, we didn't have the dance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the video set up, right? So, video was booked to shoot in San Francisco. And then we had the big earthquake in '89.
Yeah.
Which was like a few days before the video
video
shoot.
supposed to shoot.
So the bridge went down, city was all, it was only a couple
Shambles.
ways to get over there. So we didn't think anybody was going to show up to the video because either I think the train
Yeah.
was down and the bridge was down. So the only way you can get over there was either the ferry or you had to either take the Golden Gate Bridge, which is way out the way,
Yeah.
or the San Mateo Bridge, which is also out the way. And, back then, if it ain't convenient,
Nobody
that'd
wants to
deter
do
a
it.
lot of
Nobody
people.
want to do
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right, but they showed up.
It was
right?
up.
But it was like maybe a night or two before we shot the video. It was like, we got to come up with a dance, right? So we had
Who suggested that?
who suggested what?
That you have to come up with a dance.
Well, the song was called The Humpty Dance.
I know, but
So,
Gotta come up with
gotta
a
be a
dance.
dance,
Gotta be a
right?
dance.
Right.
The
So,
Humpty
but we just
Dance.
didn't think about it until it was close
Right.
to time to do it.
Okay.
And then, and it was, I remember once again, we had my mom's apartment. That was another one of our hangouts. 'Cause
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
the
yeah.
equipment and stuff, and it was live.
Well, you
around the way.
guys are young.
Yeah. And my brother was there, Mac Moan, who was
Yeah.
in Raw Fusion. They're the ones that kind of started the creation of it.
Yeah.
Meaning, and the inspiration came from that dance was the earthquake.
That's
we
why
was
you do
moving,
that.
'cause, like, the ground was shaking,
Ooh,
trying to get
yeah,
it
that
out.
makes sense.
So,
Right, I didn't
all
think
of these
about that.
things happen for a reason.
for a reason.
Right? We thinking is, well, it was a tragedy, obviously.
It definitely was a
Right.
tragedy.
But we took that, and turned it
into something
that.
which
So-
is really helpful, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so-
it changes your mindset. It turns something that's really horrifying into something that you can digest, to be honest with you, and it soothes the situation.
Yep. So I credit my brother Cullen and Mac Moan for coming with the
Coming
original
up with it.
concept of it. But then Shock came over to see what they was doing, and then he put his own flavor to
Oh,
it.
he wasn't nothing to play
And
with
that's,
it.
that's where it
That's where it came from.
that's where it came from.
And then y'all were able to put it into the video and did it everything.
Yeah, we practiced it.
Yeah.
That's
Went to the
dope.
video and did it. So if you watch the Humpty Dance video, you see me on one side with the Oakland A shirt.
Yeah.
That's my brother on the other side.
Other side,
That's the other
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
So me and him, and then Mac Moan is in the back with the
Yeah,
dudes that's doing that, shocking them.
yeah.
So we was all in there.
Man,
together.
I think you guys, man, like I said, during that time, that was a creative time. You know, you had dances, the Pee Wee Herman or the Gucci or we did the Chic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was all kind of dances. You had to have a dance back then. They were even that Tootsie Roll and everything that was going on back then. You would dance if it was a party. We had dances too. You
well,
know,
even if you was a rap group, you had to have dancers.
there you go.
'Cause that's
Yeah,
really
Big
what-
Daddy Kane, they were crazy with that.
Even when, like I said, Fuse initially started DJing, for me to be a part of it, me and Moan were the dancers.
Had to have it.
We would do our Raw Fusion show. Then when Digital Underground came on, we were the dancers while Fuse was the DJ.
And Tupac came into that same
Yeah,
fold
he came
too.
into that same
Who brought
situation.
him in?
So our manager, Adrian Gregory,
Okay.
well, he has history too, because before he was before we were signed to him, he was the road manager for NWA. and
Yeah,
Ruthless
yeah,
Records,
yeah.
right?
So he already was on. He was on it.
He was on it, and then a friend of his, Layla Steinberg, was like, "Hey, I got these guys," and it was Tupac, Ray Love, and DJ Diz. They were called Strictly Dope, and so she suggested, and she really knew she had something in Tupac as well.
She knew.
But she brought them to audition for Atron, who had them audition for us, and they were eventually got signed to TNT Records, which was the label that we were signed to, right? So even though, I was, Tupac, once we started blowing up, we brought Tupac on when he became a solo artist, because they eventually dissolved as a group. But even when we were doing Do What You Like and making the video, Tupac was around. He just was part of another group. But he was part of our TNT family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were, he was part of the collective of us as artists. But
did he stand out in that group when you seen him?
Oh,
Did you
absolutely.
know like it's something special about Tupac? When you first seen him, you was Digital Underground already. You was already in your space. But when you laid eyes on Pac during that time, what did you think?
When I laid eyes on him?
Yeah, like when you seen them and they group and what.
Well, when they auditioned for us, I thought him and Ray were both good rappers.
Okay.
It wasn't until after they auditioned and you start getting to know him, and his presence in the room was just that.
It was there.
Yeah, he just.
It was on 10.
Yeah, it was on 10. Like if he was in the room, your eyes was on him.
Wow.
Like, he just had that much charisma, that personality, and he just had how some people have that it thing. He had it.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember really how I really knew it was something. Excuse me.
It's okay.
Is that we did. Remember, I said they were around.
Yeah.
This is how I remember that they were around, because we did the video for Do What You Like, right? And then I remember we got it edited, and then so we had the copy of the video before it came out.
Wow.
Right? So I just remember this chick that I went to high school with, but she actually went to Prairie View. in
Okay,
Texas,
yeah. Shout out, Prairie
and she
View.
was home, and I was like, come see my video. We about to come out, right? I'm thinking I'm gonna impress her. I was like, yeah, come over to the house. We'll be hanging out, and we're all over there.
Yeah.
And the video's playing, and I'm in the thing and
Doing
doing
your
whatever.
thing.
And I turned to look at her, and she just all in Tupac's mouth, like. I was like, and then I looked at him. I was like, damn. I was like that.
That's hard.
That's all you can do.
I want to know about the Tupacalypse now, because when I think of the early Tupac, I think about the military, the way that he was rapping. It was so like Black Panther. It was militant, like
Panther
rap.
Power.
Like
That's
it
what
was the way he came. That was his first. It was a few on there, but I skipped some because it was too deep for me. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it got more soothing to me when I Get Around and all that came. But that album though, I still jammed it. I remember riding. I remember listening to it. I remember buying it. You know what I'm saying? So how did that develop when he was that single artist? You know what I mean? Far as when he stepped out.
Even when he was in the group with Strictly Dope, they had a song called Panther Power.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's how he was raised.
That's how he was raised, right?
Yeah, I mean, shit, that's how I was raised. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he that was the message that he wanted
to get out there.
Get across. Now, that's not saying that everything else that you learned about him wasn't there.
Yeah.
It just, at that time, that was the lane that he chose. Right?
Was he still learning himself though? Because he blended it. It blended in all the way through his.
If you look at, or not look, but if you listen to Tupacalypse now, the lead track on the first song on that album is a song called "Young Black Male."
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorites, but it ain't nothing political about that song.
You're correct.
He's talking that shit.
That's right. That's right.
Young black. He talking about the young black male.
Yeah.
Stacking that grip, and he's spitting that shit. Right.
And that tough for me.
But So it's always there. And a lot of times, you know, with anything, we like to just put people in a box, right? So
Yeah.
we grasp onto the thing that we can say, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Without really realizing he's all of that.
He's everything.
You know what I mean? If you get to learn him, like you said, we're still learning ourselves at 18,
That's
19
right.
years old.
Yeah,
So we don't fully know who we are.
Who we are.
Right? And then we haven't had the experiences, right? So if, you know, if you knew me at 18 and then you see me at 21 after I've traveled the world,
It's
you know,
a different.
done
It's
this,
evolution,
maybe
right?
have had my heart broken.
Mhm. Oh, you done got that heart
do
broke.
this
That's
and
a
do
damn
that.
show happening.
I'm a different guy, right?
Yeah.
And at the core, I'm the same.
Same,
you know,
but
because,
different.
You know what they say, like you are by the time your kid is like 6, their personality is their personality.
Yeah.
But then everything else that they become and learn is from
That's right.
those experiences.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But they have that personality. The personality sort of develops at a very young age.
Yeah.
Right. So he had the personality, he had the charisma. Now what his messaging was, you know, mine's changed too.
Yeah.
You know? And I
Yeah.
could look back and maybe some of the things I'm like, damn, I should have been saying that, or I wish I would have said that, right? Or, hey, I just know I'm a different person, you know.
I want to break you into that. What's up, Lo? How you doing?
Right.
That rhyme, man. Like when you came up with your piece on that, like you, Pac, all y'all that I get around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you know it was gonna be big as it was when y'all was doing it?
I did.
How? You was young, Money
No,
B.
listen. I did. So here's the thing. That track was originally a Digital Underground track.
Okay.
We had that track, right? And I remember having the instrumental on tape and just riding around for about 6 months with just the instrumental. But
What?
none of us, we were scared. Yeah.
The whole thing.
The instrumental.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Beat was the
Yeah.
beat. Now, what it didn't have the I Get Around.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
the title of the song.
But it just had to doom.
It had all of that. It had everything except
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right? But we knew the track was fire. Nobody wanted to fuck it up.
Wow, that's
So they
hard.
just-
I like
and
that.
Shaka be like, man, what y'all got? And he was like, oh no.
Yeah, I
You know
like
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
And then he ended up giving it to Saphir. Rest in peace.
Rest
He
in
just
peace.
recently passed.
Yeah.
And then Pac was the guy who had the earliest deadline.
Okay.
So he's like, Shock, I need you, you know, he was living in LA. He was like,
Yeah.
Shock, I need a beat. And Shock was like, man, there's this one beat everybody tripping off of, but nobody did nothing to it. So he took the beat from Saphir and gave it to Pac.
Wow.
And, you know, by the grace of God, you know, Pac turned around and asked us to be on it. Because he didn't have to. He didn't have to. Right? He said, I want this to be a Digital Underground song, you know, or I
yeah.
want you guys on it.
Everybody on it.
Yeah.
He knew y'all had been listening to it and knew y'all had
Well, he didn't know
a
the
vested
story
interest.
behind
He didn't
it.
know it.
All Shock said was like, hey, I got this one beat that everybody liked, but ain't nobody did nothing to it. So take this one, because this is one that's already done. I'm sure he gave him some more beats.
Yeah.
He chose that for sure.
Well, I heard Shock G say that one time that Pac couldn't pick his own beats. Shock said that. He said he needed me to pick. I remember watching the special because I watch him a lot.
Yeah.
He said he needed me to pick his beat.
Then that's probably what Shock was like. This is one.
Yeah.
And on that album, I think Shock produced like 3 or 4 tracks on that album.
Wow.
I don't know if they all made
I'm
it.
telling you, he said that.
I don't know if they all made it, but I know he did. Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's just to say, like, just from a track perspective,
Yeah.
we knew it was a fire track. And when we did the song, and when I heard the hook, I was like, okay, the hook is dope too, right? Because now I hear the round and all of that.
Round we go.
Now I got something to write to.
Yeah.
And I believed after I recorded my verse
Okay.
that I rocked it.
You
know what
did.
I mean? I was like,
what's up?
bro.
Your pitch and the
I
way
was
you
like,
came
bro.
in was different than everything that was going on. You know that, right?
Yeah, and I know you've heard me say it a million times, and a lot of people are like, oh, you. I'm like, no, I'm just saying, like, you know, when you hear something,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm eating on that thing.
yeah, that thing's going, right? And so, because Pop was living in LA, he was like, bro, did you do it? I was like, nigga.
What? Give me a little bit. Give me the first part of that song. How do you?
What's up, love? How you doing? Well, I've been hanging, singing, trying to do my thing.
Oh.
You heard that I was banging. Your homegirl you went to school with, that's cool, but did she tell you about her sister and your cousin?
Woo!
So say, dog.
Man, I love that, man. You don't know, you my
You're so
guy.
cute.
You my guy, man.
Word.
You hear me? I ain't gonna lie.
Now let me also tell
It's
you
just your
this.
tone, man.
I do have to give props. So when I wrote my verse, it was probably just slightly a little raunchier than that.
Really?
Right? Yeah, because that's what I come from.
Oh, you
Smoking,
changed it?
I mean, huh?
You changed
well,
it?
Shock was like, hey man, let's.
Tone it down?
He's like, tone it down, because Shock had the vision. He was like, bro, this could be one of them songs. I think we should.
What did
keep
you
it alive."
say?
I don't know.
You can't
Maybe
remember?
I said, I probably used, instead of words that go, oh, I used, you know what I mean?
You was using some vulgar, like, profanity?
Just once, not all the way through, but here or there.
Here or there.
I just know,
Any one radio play.
by
Yeah.
his suggestion, I cleaned it up a little bit.
That's hard.
You know
That's
what I mean?
hard.
Because sometimes, you can be like, nah, that's how I spit it, and we'll clean it up on the radio version.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, nah, let's just make the version.
Wow.
And but Shock, he would produce the song. So when I say that, to me, is a difference between somebody. Nowadays, we say if he make the beat, he produced it.
Yeah. Mhm.
To me, a producer is like Quincy Jones with arrangement.
Yeah, yeah.
Tone.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Shock would be like, I need 2 bars here and I need 7 bars here.
Yeah, he
I'm like,
coaching
you can't do that. He's like, bro, just trust me.
You gotta do it.
And then he put that
Wow.
that thing together, or he'll say, hey, don't say that. Smooth it out, or whisper it, or don't use that language. Right?
Yeah.
Producing the whole track.
Wow.
Producing the song, I would say.
He was incredible.
Right, as opposed to nowadays, you just get a beat from up,
Yeah.
and now he's the producer, but he didn't really produce the song. He just gave you, he produced the beat,
Yeah, that's
and he
correct.
gave you the song. Because even now, like, because I learned under Shock, I'm, even though I don't make beats anymore, I produce all of my songs.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why, I don't even record vocals to something unless I have the stems to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that I can arrange it the way that I want
Yeah,
it. I don't just
your
take
creative
somebody's beat
control.
and rap over it and
Yeah.
rap to their thing. I like your beat. Give me the stems so I can arrange it and fix it the way that I want
But
it.
that come with being more seasoned, understanding the music more.
Yep.
Go ahead,
No, I was just saying, the other day when we were interviewing Mr. Lee, he's a producer.
Mr. Lee down in
Yeah,
Texas.
he was, he does different courses online, and he was telling a lot of people that producers aren't just beat makers, because a person who does just beat, he's just a beat maker.
Right.
He's not a producer. A producer have a lot more to do, as in like arrangement.
Yeah.
Doing just like what
you
you're
said,
saying.
The example, on Thriller, I don't think Quincy Jones played an instrument on that record, but he produced it.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he
he
knew
cre-
what sounds to bring in.
Yeah.
He knew where to place them. Michael, run it like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He produced the record.
That's real.
Right.
I want to ask you about just Shock G, losing him, just leading up to that, Yeah, I love him, man. I'm telling you, I met him. I thank God that I got to meet him, but you was a friend and a family man, a brother. Like, how was it? What was it that I don't understand? I don't know the story of how he passed and all that. So break down to me, like just leading up to it. What caused it?
What year was that?
2021.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago.
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Well, for you, but I'm just saying, when you look, you got some people like Pac, and you go way back. But for me, that's right. Like years.
Like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't not like Pac then, because I did some my face life and everything else while the Pac stuff was going on.
Right. Well, with Shock, of course, everybody has their issues, right? So at the time, Shock was living in Tampa, Florida, where he grew up, where his
You down in Tampa?
down in Tampa. He was down in Tampa. So, none of us were with him on a day to day.
Yeah.
But at least from my perspective, Shock probably could have kept the company
Okay.
of people that cared about him a little more.
Okay, I got
I would
you.
just say that. But then, you know, when you are keeping certain type of company with people, sometimes you lose sight of knowing or realizing how many people actually do love you.
That's right.
And that do care about you, right? Because some of us, and I've probably gone through the same thing. Like when you're on top of everything, you're in it. Everybody's, you know,
There have a lot of pretenders around.
yeah. When it's not there, right, and they're not around, and especially somebody like Shock, you know, he's not on the internet. He's not on social
That's
media,
right.
so he don't know what people are saying. He's just living his day to day.
Yeah.
Right. So he don't know that everybody considers him to be a musical genius.
Correct.
You know what I mean? He's just thinking, oh man, there ain't nobody tripping off of me, right? But we are,
Oh yeah. Definitely.
right? And that's a lot of us because, you know, as Digital Underground, you know, like I said, when we started, I was 18, 19,
Correct.
right? We had, by the time we had peaked, and, you know, I would say our last, even though we put out albums and music afterwards and we, you know, kind of stayed semi-relevant,
Yeah.
but the peak of our power was probably the end of that was I Get Around.
It was.
And that was in 94.
That's right.
Right. So when it's over, I'm 25 years old, not knowing what I'm gonna do with the rest of my life.
That's real.
I'm thinking
That's real.
It's over. Like, well, who am I?
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
So you have to figure that.
But
part of it out.
everybody's still knowing you for who you are.
Yeah, for who
and,
I
and
am.
expecting a lot of big things, right?
But I don't know that. I'm thinking if people don't see me like this, then maybe they're not gonna appreciate me, or they'll be like,
Gotcha.
"Oh man, you ain't even."
Yeah, you ain't who you were.
We don't know, right? So, but for somebody like me, I'm very close with my family, and you know, I've always had a lot of support, and I felt the love of the people around me. Sometimes people don't always get that, right? So, I don't know if, you know, he probably
Felt that love.
felt maybe, you know, like
You
I
see
said,
what I'm saying? Because you guys grew. Did y'all grow apart? Because he was down there, or were you still in contact with him on a phone?
No, we were in contact. And
Okay.
we still had some business to take care of.
Of course.
And we were talking, right? But with anything, it's not like you grow apart. It's like we all grow up.
That's
You know,
right.
we just talked about
responsibilities,
responsibilities, family.
kids.
You know, I can't raise a kid, have a woman, and all
We're
that. and
not
still
20.
be-
We're not 20 no
Yeah.
more. We're not 18 no more. And these
Exactly.
kids here, and they mama say you gonna have to do something. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got to do something.
You
right?
got to.
So-
you looking at these kids. You got to
So
feed
what
these
I'm-
babies.
And people, you know, 'cause people always like, what happened? It's like life happens, right?
Life be
You know,
lifing.
Everybody grows up and everybody creates a life for themselves. And sometimes that life doesn't include hanging out on a nightly
That's
or
real.
jamming or doing whatever you used to do. So you can't do the same things. And remember when I think, well, maybe we weren't on camera, but I told you that there was a slight difference in our age.
Correct. You did say that. I heard you.
And even with that, all of us in the group, from me and Fuse kind of were tight because we did have a lot of the same, and to this day,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna see him this weekend. But you know, Jimmy had his own friends. Chai Master J had his own friends and
Yeah.
interests. Shock had his own friends and interests.
Of course.
Even I have my own friends and interests away from Fuse, and likewise.
Yeah.
So we all have different lives outside of what we do. It's just that we were such that when we came together, it was like we never left.
Never
It
left.
was
Just click right back
we
into
just
play.
click right back
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
And I'm talking about even at the height of our thing, we went our separate ways, but we would see each other more frequently because we had to
Come back and do
work.
whatever you had to do. Yeah.
And then when we traveled, when we were on tours, we lived together.
Yeah.
So we're tight knit like that. But whenever we get home, like roaches.
Yeah. But
Till it's
life.
time to come back.
Yeah.
So now, if we don't have those tours and we're not in the studio, when we
Never see each other.
we just never see each other. Not that we don't.
Yeah, not that we don't rock. We just busy. We doing other things.
Yeah.
Like we
Because
taking care of
even,
business.
like you said, even when the Humpty Dance was rocking, when we came home, I wouldn't did what I did. He would did what he
Of
did.
course.
He did. It's just that we had to come together more frequently.
Yeah.
And when we were out, we were living with each other. So now you fast forward, 25, 30 years
Later.
hey man, we full-fledged into our own lives.
Exactly.
Right.
But where were you at when you heard that he had passed away?
I was at home.
And somebody called
And
you?
one of my guys, Two Fly Eli, who's also a
Okay.
member of Digital Underground, he hit me, and when he called me, he was crying
Wow.
already. And as soon as Two Fly Eli, he's down in Dallas, Texas.
Man.
So we got Digital Underground in Dallas.
Why you ain't sent him over there to see me?
Oh man, listen.
You knew that he was down there. You knew I was down there. I'm not gonna get on you right now. Let's go
He's
on
still
talk.
down there. So anyway, like you said, we don't talk that often.
Of course.
So when I get a call from him and he's crying,
you know
it has to be
something wrong.
Something related to something that
Something-
we
yeah.
are connected with. And at the time, we also knew that Shop was going through a few things.
Yeah.
So even before he told me, I
You knew.
immediately assumed that I was going to hear something like that.
Wow. And when he told you, you had to take a moment?
Absolutely. And,
Because y'all got a history that goes way back.
And with Pac, with Saphir, Smooth, all of us, like, bro, this is, when you lose family, it hits you.
It hits you
right?
hard.
And then depending, it might not hit you that second,
No,
but
no.
at some point it's going to hit
It's
you.
gonna hit you.
Right? So it's all different, right? I remember when my grandmother passed.
Yeah.
People thought I was, because we were,
Like,
I
why
was
you
a
ain't
favorite.
reacting, huh?
But it took me a
Yeah.
while, but when I finally did, I broke down.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what did Shock pass from?
Well, they said it was an overdose on drugs, right?
Okay.
But we believe that the person that he with gave him something
Wow.
because the what it was, and I'm reluctant to say it because I don't know
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
but
yeah.
something like fentanyl, or whatever.
Yeah.
Something that we know that he
Didn't
never
even mess
normally
with.
mess with.
he don't do that.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean, we all do our things, right? But
That, no.
it's like, what is that?
It's crazy, man. Man, when you go back, and I'm gonna go back to Tupac. When you go back to Tupac, there are so many different people that tell so many different stories on the internet about Tupac, right?
Right.
And you see them, and you be like, nah, that I don't know about that. But I heard you say something. I heard you because I listened to you. You was like, Tupac always was a person who basically was that guy, like, wasn't gonna put up with much, or you wasn't gonna punk him or push him around.
Right.
Pretty much. I'm just paraphrasing, but a lot of people like he was theatrical. You heard me ask people this a lot of times. He wasn't this guy. Why they try to make him out? He wasn't even like that. He trying to be like the guys in L.A. He ain't even, when he got with Suge and them. What do you see as Tupac? Was he the type of guy? But then you see with the off-duty police officers, there's all different instances out here. But from your perspective, who was Tupac when it came down to if something was going on? If somebody was coming at him in the wrong way, was he the type of dude that was going to just chill early on when he met y'all and let everything just kind of fly by?
No.
Or was he, you see what I'm saying? Because you hear these stories.
Nah, I mean, and I understand it because people can know, and it's weird, right?
It's real
because
weird.
I hear and I see a lot of these people, and sometimes you can be with somebody in one environment,
Okay.
and only one time.
One time, and that one time.
One time, or just only see them in a certain
Environment.
in an environment, right? You probably got some girlfriends that when they like
Right,
that, they like,
right.
bro, you're not like that. You know what I mean? And I get it, but for somebody like I met Pac in 1988. So
I know.
There was no Death Row. There was no Thug Life. There was no whatever it is, Juice or
None of
Bishop.
that stuff.
There was none of that. Tupac was prideful,
Okay.
and call it what you want, But if you tested it, he would let that pride get in the way, and he wouldn't let it go.
Okay,
Let me just
you've
say
seen
that,
him. Yeah.
right? And standing up for yourself or not backing down doesn't make you a gangster like people want to. Well, he ain't no gangster. Well, everybody doesn't have to be the gangster that you want to define it as.
Yeah.
But he wasn't no punk.
Right.
Correct.
That's what
You knew
that's
that.
what I know, right? Whatever else that you want to say he isn't or wasn't, maybe he didn't want to be that, or or whatever it is. Because when people say they know him and I don't know him, then that's your experience.
Yeah.
He moved to L.A. and he moved around and he was personable.
Yeah.
So if you met him, your relationship with him is your
Might be-
relationship.
yeah, it's gonna be
Exactly.
different. Right.
Whatever it is. So, like if just say for instance, if I'm in LA and I know I got 90 guys with me, and yeah, get them. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean if he's alone, he's not going to take off running either.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that wasn't him.
nah, that's not the guy I know. Right?
You told a story. You said that you was on the elevator and you said that Eazy pulled out his gun.
Right.
And then Pac was like, I got mine too. And
Right.
this is early on. When I heard that story, I'm like, there's another instance where this had to be early. He was with Money B.
Well, yeah, this was 90. It was when Call It What You Want was out. We was
Okay,
doing it before.
okay.
So all of these, I associate things with what was happening at the time.
Yeah.
'Cause all of these years kind of blend together.
They definitely do. How did you end up on the elevator with Eazy?
Because we were going to perform that song.
Y'all was all together.
It was with. So we were at a convention. I used to have all of the conventions.
Yeah. You was getting money.
We were in
You
LA.
hustling. You be hustling
And
back then.
we had the song "Call It What You Want."
Yeah.
With Above the Law.
Yeah.
So we were on a freight elevator going down to get ready to go perform that song, and Above the Law was on Ruthless Records. That was,
Okay.
Laylaw, rest in peace,
Yeah.
and Eazy-E, rest in peace. That was their group.
Their group.
So Eazy was with us. He was with his group. I mean, and like I said, we know those guys. I always tell people, Digital Underground, in essence, comes from the NWA tree because Adrian Gregory was Ruthless
Correct.
road manager.
With them first. You said that
before.
earlier.
Yeah, and if you look on my thing, I think I tagged you.
Yeah.
Ice Cube
Yeah.
said
You
the same
did. Sure
thing,
did.
Right? So we knew those guys. You
Yeah.
know, we were always around them. So it wasn't like, hey, we got to meet Eazy. Like before we came out, we knew NWA.
So
We were
so
around
when they
those
were
guys.
talking, they already knew each other on the elevator. And when he
Yeah,
said
we were
this-
together.
Yeah.
We were
so
going
that's
to
that's
the
what.
stage, and then we're in the elevator talking about, it was at the time, and Eazy's beef with, it might have been Aftermath, whatever it was. Yeah. So it wasn't even Death Row. It was
Aftermath. It was,
Possibly.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, because Death Row didn't come till 93.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you look it up, I think Call It What You Want came out in 91.
Okay.
So it was 91, 92. So it was Aftermath. But still, Dre and Eazy broke up.
Of course.
So, by then Eazy had Snoop and the Chronic was already out.
He had
and Warren and
a
all
different
those.
crew.
Yeah, so
Ray, Dog Pound,
it
they
was
started
that.
rolling like that.
and it's in LA, so obviously you know that you're gonna see these guys.
Correct.
So it was just conversation about, man,
They ain't going down like that.
yeah, let me find out. I see one of these, you know what I mean? Type of
We
deal.
young.
Right.
You young at the time.
Yeah, you just like whatever. So that's what it was.
Wow.
And then when Bros was like, play with me if you want
If
to.
you want to.
And Tupac was like, yeah, I feel you. One of them type of deal.
That's the kind of guy he was, right?
Right.
Like
But-
he wasn't trying to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, but to me that was funny because it was Eazy's beef. We're just visiting. So what the hell you got to do
But
with
is that
You know
kind
what
of
I mean?
how he was? If he with you, he with you.
If he with you, he with you. Right. So he about that action, I guess.
No,
Me,
that's
I'm from
funny.
Oakland. I'm like, hey man,
Oakland
Whatever
is
y'all got
dope though.
going
I
on.
gotta get up there, man. You say Oakland, and I think about Too Short.
Absolutely.
Early on, bro,
Absolutely.
Too Short is my guy. Like, I love his music. I love everything about how he linked with, he linked with UGK and all that. I'm a Pimp C fanatic, as you already know. So, like, how was that coming up when you first heard Too Short up in Oakland? And was that before y'all?
Bro.
Because Too Short was early, man.
I had Too Short tapes in 1982.
Come on now.
To cassettes, way before. Too Short's first record on wax was in 1986, right?
Okay.
But in 1982, 83 in Oakland, we had the tapes. Too Short and Freddie B.
Yeah.
So I'm in
Freddie B.
I'm in what is that? 7th, 8th grade.
We
Listening
were
to
bad.
Too Short, right?
Too Short was cussing, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Talking about everything.
Everything we want to hear.
For real.
We were young, man.
So, I always tell people, if it wasn't no Too Short, it probably no Money B, because
That's right.
that inspired me as a young person he was somebody that you actually could see and touch that actually was doing stuff. So
That's
that
right.
let me know, because, when I'm young, I'm thinking you got to be from New York to make a record.
Yeah.
But when you see that and somebody from your city
It's
actually
inspiring.
doing it, it's inspiring. And, I mentioned too, Too Short right now, like okay, the Eagles just won the Super Bowl.
Correct, for sure.
What's the theme song?
Come on,
Gilly?
you know what it is. Gilly
Blow
acting
the
a
whi-
damn
yeah.
fool. Blow the whistle,
Yeah.
man. Gilly
Blow the
going
whistle.
in, man.
He probably selling a million records
Oh,
in
he killed
Philadelphia
that.
alone last week.
Oh, them streams went crazy. You
Right.
ain't even got to worry about that.
And still going, right?
Still going.
Think about it. Right now, Too Short is relevant. And when his first record came out,
Yeah.
Raising Hell by Run DMC came out that same
Talk to
year.
That's what I try to tell people.
But if you think about Run DMC, that's like unfathomable. Like they're dinosaurs.
That's right.
Relics. But Too Short is relevant.
Still relevant right
40
now.
years later.
And I've seen it.
Like,
I seen it, and his tone and everything about him never get old or boring.
yeah, so you gotta give that, like,
You gotta give him his props,
you gotta
bro.
give that to him.
And like I said, it hit you the same way it hit me. Of course, I wasn't rapping, I was hustling, but still, at the end of the day, for you said something like, because I argue, I don't know if it with FaZe or whoever, I tell him, man, because he's talking about NWA,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, man, without Too Short, before NWA, I was too short. I'm telling you, I remember
Yeah.
because I'm older.
Because, shit, NWA was fans of Too Short.
That's what I'm
You know what
thinking.
I
I
mean?
know that.
Yeah, and they'll tell you, because Short went on that NWA tour.
Yeah.
Because he was popping, right?
He really was popping.
So, it's that, and then you got to look at MC Hammer. Give him his props. 'cause
That's your piece. That's your side. That's your top. Them your guys, right?
Yep. Right.
Who else? Who else?
Tony.
Tony. E40 is already said.
Yeah, E40 came
Later.
after us, right?
He-
He came like 92.
Yeah, him
right?
and
91, 92-ish. And somebody can correct me, but I believe it. Like when I first really started, he's buzzing.
yeah.
Right around that time. But I'm saying, when I'm coming up, I'm looking at your Tonys, your In Vogues, your
Yeah.
Too Shorts,
Yeah.
your MC Hammers, Foster McElroy. It's probably some other cats. And then you even look at it on the other side, Metallica's from the Bay Area too.
Yeah. See, y'all
and
got
Green Day, and
It's some
you know what I
heat.
mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of
it's some heat.
culture, coming out,
And
coming out that city.
But it's more. I thought about
In that
y'all
town.
pimping, macking, like players. That's what. Shout out to my boy. Was a little bit Louis Belt. Shout out to Belt, man. Louis Belt from up there, a young comedian and doing his thing, man. Lunel. See, y'all, it don't stop, and I gotta get up there, do my interviews. I gotta take you up there with me. Me and you gotta take them. Then I feel good about it.
Yeah, you got your, and even in sports, because the culture is the culture. So no
Yeah.
matter what you do, you're part of the culture.
Yeah.
Right. So you got your Marshawn Lynch and
Yeah, it's going down.
Bill Russell's from Oakland,
See, look at that,
and
man.
Tom Hanks is from Oakland.
See,
too.
you can keep going,
Yeah,
man.
Bruce Lee went to
See
school in
that?
Oakland. He went to high school. Oakland
That's
Tech.
crazy, but I listen, man. Like I said, when I got you on here today, my main thing was just to show love and respect to everything that you guys done, man. And
Yep.
I ain't, like I said, when I come down to Tupac, I know you got so many different stories. I couldn't get them all out of you, even if I tried. Like because of how early on you was dealing with when you heard that Pac had passed away. Where were you at? What was going on with you at that time? In 1996.
96. So same type of deal. You know, this was the second time he got shot.
Correct.
And he had survived it, right?
The first one was crazy. But you could see the movement the whole
took
time.
5 and came back.
And
so
came
we
back.
thinking, oh wow, when he come back after this, he really gonna be talking that shit. But you know, he was in the hospital a little longer. And remember, you know, some of you guys out there, hard to fathom, but there was no internet, right? So you just had to get the word, hearsay, or you might see something on the news, or you know, you had to get the information, right? Or
That's
they'll
real.
say something on the radio, right? The reports on the radio.
Yeah.
So we don't really know because I at that time, I couldn't afford to go to Vegas.
No,
Just
I
jump
get it,
out,
yeah.
You know, I'm still
Yeah.
figuring my thing out at that time.
Yeah.
But at the time, I had the alphanumeric pager.
Yeah.
Right?
We are.
So
Come
you
on
get
now.
the message. You
Yeah.
gotta pull over, go to the phone booth,
Yeah.
and hit it. Right.
411, all kind. You get the
Yeah,
little codes.
And it's almost identical to shot. Whereas all of a sudden it was in the afternoon, and I'm in Oakland. I'm actually in North Oakland. I remember, and all of a sudden I started getting all of these pages like, "You all right? You
Wow.
okay?
Yeah, because it's
I'm
coming through
checking on
like
you,
that.
bro.
Yep.
Yeah, like, what's up? You good?" And I'm like, why is everybody hitting me like that? And not really putting it together. But then my mom hit me. It was like, call me. And then I stopped at the phone booth. And as soon as I picked up and my mom was like, "You all right? You heard?"
Yeah.
That's when I knew.
That's when
She
you
didn't
knew.
even say who. I didn't even say who, what. When I heard my mom say that, like, why would she be, you know what I mean?
Wow.
I was like,
Another one of them moments.
yep.
You knew like it's over. He gone. But have you ever seen it? The impact he had when he left, far as the way not only his music, his whole movement was. Have you ever seen anybody else that impressive on the culture after passing like Pac was? Because that was big for me.
Well, nobody could imagine that he would become the icon.
No, I'm talking about like the tattoos, the hey,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
the-
His effect on culture. Like I said, you know, you can't throw that word icon around
that's right.
easily.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say like a global and cultural icons, that's reserved for a select few. Bob Marley, you know, Elvis, right? Tupac,
Man,
you know, it's
Michael Jackson,
Michael Jackson, right? The Beatles,
the Beatles,
right? And then now, you know, I will say that Snoop Dogg has slipped into there,
Yeah.
right? And as big as I don't know, but in my mind, as big as Jay-Z is, he's not the like us in hip hop and in our culture, he is.
Of course.
But when I say, like, you could mention Tupac in
Anywhere.
in the woods of Africa or
Anywhere.
the woods of South America. Like, they have tribes in Africa called the Tupacs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Yes, they do. You know what I mean? That's the effect he had on the globe and the culture, right? And like I said, it's reserved for a select few. Probably those, what I said, and I'm sure that Marilyn Monroe,
Yeah.
whatever. Whereas, you know, you see their face or you hear their name, no matter where you're at in the world, how old you are, you have an inkling of who that person is, right? So what did I say? Bob Marley,
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, the Beatles, right?
Yeah,
Still,
yeah,
but
yeah.
not even like Tupac or that. So like the how you say the big three, is or big 3 or 4: Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Elvis, Tupac.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
That's that.
Yeah.
Right. And now, you know, Snoop Dogg might be sliding into the starting 5.
You keep saying Snoop Dogg. You seen what just happened with Snoop Dogg. He lost followers and all kind of stuff behind that Trump
He
situation.
did. He did.
How did you see that from your perspective?
Well, sometimes we do things that maybe we didn't, you know, like I can't really judge it because I don't know all the information.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
see
get
it. I
it.
didn't follow it because I'm not the type of guy, especially if I know you,
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna jump on and see everybody bashing you and just
Yeah, I ain't gonna
and
do
just
that
fall
either.
into it. It's like I can look at it and be like, ugh, I probably wouldn't have did that, right?
Yeah.
But that's not gonna make me turn on you like that because there's an explanation. But whatever comes from it, that's what he did. So it's gonna end up whatever comes from that, whatever the backlash. He did that, right? But let me finish.
Yeah.
He's still the global icon.
He definitely is.
Now, what I believe is that, like, you can't be a global icon. Everybody can't know you, and then all of a sudden, everybody can't know you. You can become infamous. You know what I mean? Like right now, everybody in the world knows who Trump is, but everybody doesn't love Trump.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So let's not get it confused. Being a global icon doesn't mean loved globally. It's
Okay.
two different things. So just because he did something that a lot of people don't like, that doesn't mean you're gonna not stop knowing his name. So now here we are. Right now, it just happened. Is the backlash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me in 20 years and see if we still remember that, or is he remember? Because you know, let's be real. Kobe Bryant, he had some things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
He went through some things.
But
right?
you barely hear that talked about
At
anymore.
that time, we don't talk about it. We love Kobe,
Correct.
and rightfully so. But he had some time. There was a period where the world didn't love him like that.
That's exactly right.
But you know, and especially now with, and I'll double down on this part of it, especially now with social media.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you know, we call it fake outrage. Everybody's mad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what was we mad at 9 months ago?
Trump, Diddy, there's some.
Diddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see nothing about Diddy.
Not like it was.
Not like it was. Everybody was upset. We boycotting Diddy. this, that,
Boycotting him and
other.
everything.
Diddy's this, Diddy's that, baby
Yeah.
oil.
Everything.
You know, splash, splash, squash, squash. All of that shit. Right? You don't see nothing about it. Now we keep an eye on it, but I bet you, you know, like an R. Kelly or whatever, we'll remember it, but it's a part of the story.
That's
We're not
right.
gonna forget Diddy.
No.
And all of these people that are super outraged, you know what I mean? Where are they? Why we not? I don't see it. Not like I did. So
Yeah.
now this is fake outrage about Snoop, rightfully so, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just don't think that it's gonna be consistent because something else is gonna happen that, oh, this is the new thing we're gonna be upset about, or this is the new thing that.
Oh, people are
The
mad
TikTok
right now about
thing.
a lot of people talking about Kendrick Lamar performance at halftime. They saying it was horrible. Some people
I loved
saying it was great. Some people saying it was horrible.
I loved
They're
it.
screaming on the internet. This internet thing is crazy. You can't beat the internet.
They try to find everything. They're talking about the pants he's wearing.
They're talking about a lot of stuff.
Come on, bro.
Some people like it was codes to the performance. You got to really watch it. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm too old.
There you go. Me too.
Right, I can't.
I got to take you back to Pac too.
Can't do it.
The Me Against the World album.
Yep.
One of my favorites. Where were you at during that time? And did you guys even, because y'all was still cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, that was still kind of in between.
Well, Me Against the World.
That was a dope album, man.
He was in L.A.
Okay. And you said he was in L.A. when he did.
Strictly.
Yeah.
Yep. So he was in L.A. and I'm trying to think what was happening at that time. I was still in the Bay, working on. I remember working on a compilation I was working on, music for
Okay,
my folks,
okay.
and you know, starting my label. This is the first time starting a label with my dad.
Was a thing. Yeah.
Well, not the thing.
No, it was a
We've been
thing for
doing it
you.
today. Yeah, that's what was going on
Yeah.
with me because I remember as I was working on it, that album came out, and when I heard it, I was like, "This is the most complete album."
That's what I said.
And probably to this day, that's my favorite.
Mine too. That's why I mentioned it. To be
Yeah,
honest, I had
it
to
was
get
just-
back, get your
it was
opinion
a
on
dope
that.
album. Now, for whatever reason, he didn't call me to be on it,
Yeah.
but Shock produced a few tracks on that.
He
album.
did. Okay.
Right. And yeah, so I remember that. And then you know, the Outlaws is coming into their own.
Correct. That's when they. Yeah. Correct.
Recital. So you know, and
Big
then
Sight.
Big Psych, and then I'm hearing Easy Mo B doing tracks on it. So everybody that was on that record, you know, I was happy for, and it was just a really great album to me.
Solid.
It's a solid album. Like you could bang that thing from the top to the bottom.
Had
all the
something
way
for the
through.
ladies on there. Can
No
you get
Fear,
away?
Dear Mama.
Yeah, your
was
Dear
on
Mama was
there.
on there.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And that's what
That's
took
the
him over
one
the
to
top.
this day. That was one of the ones you
Yeah.
can't get away from.
That's what took him over the top.
That's gonna be played
Oh,
forever.
and he was locked up.
Damn sure
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
That's why he was locked up, and he got out. No, he recorded it before, but he was locked up when
recorded
it came
before,
out.
and then he got locked up.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Yeah,
the stuff.
yeah,
the
yeah,
rape stuff.
yeah.
right.
That was a horrible moment.
Yeah. So remember all of that stuff. You know, it was the charges in New York, and he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes you gotta let people get through what they're getting through.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, and like we talked about before, I'm trying to get my thing together, right?
Yeah.
So he's still, you know, it's like your cousin that live in Houston or
Yeah.
Kansas City.
But you
When
know
see him,
things
see him.
going on. But you doing your thing.
Yeah, you trying to, you know, you out here selling your dope.
But think about it though. But think about it. 25, bro. Everything we discussed, we ain't even talked about the movies. Nothing. To be 25
Right.
and do all of the things that
Yeah,
he
he did.
done
Well,
is crazy.
And he was writing scripts and
That's what I'm
planning
telling
for
you.
restaurants. This nigga had-
Crazy.
Yeah,
Planning for
planned.
a restaurant.
Yeah, he had a concept for a restaurant that he wanted.
Wow.
If anybody ever get a chance, I know it travels. The Tupac Museum, you go and you see in his writing of his
Restaurant.
plans for restaurants, and you know, he wanted his clothing line and
Wow.
all of that.
What kind of
Bro,
restaurant did he want? Do you remember?
I couldn't tell you. You know,
But you just
like I
know
said,
it.
I seen it on the paper.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
crazy though. For
But-
25, come on, man.
Yeah, he
wasn't normal.
He was a tireless worker, work ethic off the chain, and he had vision, he had focus. Like he was about, you know,
Yeah.
right. And so it's crazy. You know, I always tell people, you know, coming up under Shock to see laser focus in the studio and being very meticulous and knowing exactly what you want to hear and being in complete control in that environment. And then being around Pac, who just was that hungry and focused and drive and everything like that, it's hard for me to see other people because I know what it looks like at the peak of that. So I see through it and damn near every, you know what I mean? People are like, oh, bro, I want to do. I'm like, no, you don't. It's the truth, and I'm not even disrespecting.
No, it's the real.
But I know what focus. I know what drive. I know what that looks like
Yeah.
to want it, and whatever it takes to get it, right? And all the time I just be like,
What I got to ask you like about the South, like when it comes to the South. I heard you ESG shout out to ESG. He told a story about you on the show, but
shit.
yeah, but it wasn't bad. It was like they
What'd
went
he
in
say?
by some girls, and I got it. I'm gonna clip it back in since you asked. I'm gonna put it right back into this. It was about him linking y'all with some girls or something. Y'all was young, and it
Okay.
was he broke it. He either went in y'all's room. I think it might have been, it was y'all's room. He didn't know it was y'all's room.
Okay.
They had found, one of his partners found the key or something. But I'm going to bring it back in. I can't remember exactly, because it was like 2 years ago. But when it comes to the South,
can
what
look
did
it
you...
up online?
Of course. When
Okay,
it comes to
I'll
the
find
South, what did you think about the music and the way that thing was happening down there?
well, you got to know in the South, right? So Bay Area, and even in LA, that community all migrated from the South.
Okay.
They come from Louisiana, they come from Texas. Like in Oakland, everybody's roots is in the South.
Wow.
Same thing in LA. And you know, we can go back to when, I don't know a year, when they built the ports in in Oakland and in Long Beach, and people, military, they come and then they stay, and just, better life.
Yeah.
That's where it comes. All of our roots there mostly is from the South.
South,
and if
yeah.
it's not the South, it's probably like Chicago.
Correct. Midwest.
So, Midwest, right? So we are where I grew up in the Bay Area, we are the cousins of the South.
Of the South.
So it wasn't different, really. Obviously the accents are different, but most of the music from the South, they got it from Too Short.
Yeah, yeah,
right? And they
yeah. I
got the
told you.
bass
I
lines,
remember that.
the bass lines, and it was our, and respectfully, right? But it's our music with Southern slang over it.
Yeah.
It wasn't different.
Yeah.
So there wasn't this culture shock when we down
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And it wasn't even like, it's almost like it's like this. That's like you said. That's
Yeah,
why UGK and Short was that
Yeah,
tight.
UGK, Short,
and,
you-
and E40 went to Grambling because his family's out there.
Yeah. He in Dallas.
Everybody got something down there. Like even with Raw Fusion, our biggest market was Houston,
Yep.
right? And when we would go down there, it was just always love. So it's not like coming from the East Coast.
Correct.
With a super
I was gonna go back to that
culture
next.
shock.
Correct.
Which, that's where my family's from.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah, I'm from Philadelphia originally. That's where I was born.
I didn't even know
And
that.
that's
See,
where my family's from.
I was so thinking you straight Oakland for sure.
Nah, I was raised in Oakland since I was like 3 or 4.
See, that's why.
Yeah, so you left Philadelphia at a young age.
At a very young age, but I would go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I still know
The culture.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so I know the difference. So I know how when I would go and spend summers on the East Coast back in Philly or New Jersey, they would trip off of me. Why you talk like that? Why you dress like that? Why you
I
do
think a lot of
whatever?
kids go through that.
It wasn't none of that when you go down south
Correct.
for
Correct.
us because
Yeah.
we're cousins in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, you listen to the music. Like, shit, I did a song with what the fuck is it? Pussy, Weed, and Alcohol.
Oh, Fifth Ward Boy.
I did a song with
Fifth Ward Boy.
Yeah, I go down there and they pick me up and we
They
go
show love.
hang out and be in the back of the little record shop.
Yeah.
All that shit. And Devin the Dude was my guy. And,
Shout out to
and,
Devin.
Yeah, man, it's just like,
What did you think when the East and West Coast beef was going on and were you going back and forth to Philadelphia then?
well, when that was going on,
Think about
I'm not
it.
sure if I visited, but that's why I knew it was fabricated because me being from the East Coast originally, how's a magazine gonna let me all of a sudden start hating my cousin and people I know?
Come on now.
And the friends that I had and still have in the industry, none of our opinions changed about each other.
Cool.
It was fabricated, and it was, these magazines, the names. They fanned it,
Yeah.
and who it hurt the most were the people outside that bought into it,
Yeah.
and made it into a thing that didn't really exist.
A lot of
You know
people
what I
lost
mean?
their life behind that deal.
Exactly, like it wasn't a thing. What it was a beef between two people and two groups of people, two labels.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Everything else was just
Fabricated.
fabricated, and some people who needed, some people need something to grab onto,
Mm-hmm.
something to latch onto.
100%.
But it wasn't real, right? I never had animosity, not only towards my family, but anybody from anywhere because of where they lived solely,
Wow. So
and nobody that I knew did either.
it's crazy how that whole thing transpired, and still to this day with Keefy D and all that stuff happening like it is. All this stuff is crazy to be seeing just the dynamic of how things are still trickulating and still.
Yeah, well,
you like, what is this?
the thing about it is, how they always say what you do in the dark.
Come to the light.
Yeah, it always comes to the light. But then sometimes it's like, why does it take so long? But
Right.
eventually it is. And kind of like what we were talking about with Snoop or Puffy or anybody. Bro, whatever you do, there's repercussions and consequences for whatever. Now, whatever that is, you know, and sometimes you might not have a choice, right? So, for instance, we doing this interview, y'all go eat somewhere, somebody disrespect your wife, and you put hands on them or you do something worse, and then something happens behind that. I'm not going to change my opinion about you because you was just sitting here doing that. You know, I'm going to let it play out, and even after it plays out, I'm like, well, you're still my guy. Like,
that's what's up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know already it's something that happened, a motive behind everything that happens, right? A cause and effect. What top 3 artists of all time, dead or alive?
Top 3 artists.
Any genre?
I think we gotta put Michael Jackson.
That's one that always comes to mind. Prince?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And number 3?
Top 3 artists.
Any genre.
I know, any genre. Top 3 artists. I am gonna have to say, now when we say top 3 artists, are we just talking about musical catalog, talent, or are we talking about
Everything, all is.
just encompassing?
Right.
Pac gotta be up there.
I figured you were going to say Pop.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that
Pac
one.
has to be there.
Yeah.
Right? Influence.
So that's the 3.
And
That's
influence on the culture. Yeah, Mike, Prince, Tupac.
All day.
Now,
Do you know that's
all
the
day.
most common 3 that we have since we've been asking that question? That's the most common 3 that
Them
we
the 3
have
that come to
here.
mind.
Then you'd have to say then there's something to that, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, if I was going to have to venture off and talk about somebody else, then when you talk about influence and what they did, you would have to maybe go to like a James Brown, right? Because James Brown was the guy that, you know, he's one of the guys that owned his own music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was one of the guys, you know, when we talk about, you know, say Digital Underground, right? So Tupac came out of Digital Underground and Saphir and Mystic and, you know, we have this. Well, with James Brown, Parliament Funkadelic, George Clinton and Bootsy Collins came out of it. Like all these musicians, Bernie Worrell, just like it's countless musicians that played or came from James Brown's camp. And tutelage in the fact that even way back then, he controlled his masters. He had his own record label. He was getting his own money. He was like the model before him, and maybe somebody before him, he had to learn it, but I don't think too many were owning their music.
That's real.
Right?
Right.
So once he did it, now we know that it's possible to do. So we have to give James Brown his pop's influence, and if there's no James Brown, there's no Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Right? Or Prince. Because they both say they learned
From him.
James.
from him.
That's real. That's true.
Right?
How did who created Digital Underground?
Shock G.
Shock G.
The one that puts the satin on your
Right.
pants.
Yep.
Okay. I was just checking, how did he come up with that concept of Digital Underground and put all these people together?
I think 3 parts to that.
Okay.
Right? How he came up with the exact name, I don't know. Right? But in conversation, I do know that, you know, Shock modeled the group in a way how Parliament Funkadelic had all these characters. And
Yeah, I remember he
Shock
said something like that.
never wanted to be a solo artist. You know, because he's a musician.
He was a
wanted to
damn good musician.
produce. So even on the Sex Packets cover, you got people on the cover that don't even do nothing. He just wanted to make it look like a big group. And he always wanted us to be wear dark clothes, and if we could, wear dark glasses so that we were a little incognito where you couldn't always recognize, so we could be interchangeable and it could grow and it could be different
That's Shock G.
people.
I see.
Right? And then when it comes to the name in conversation, you know, I always tell people, like, we were digital when everybody else was analog.
Man, that's hard.
You know,
I like that.
because there was no digital age really. We're coming into that. This is the going into the late 80s. We were digital,
Right.
and then of course underground was, you know, synonymous with hip hop. Hip hop was an underground art form, digital underground.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right, put that thing together.
Man, thank you so
Smoke
much,
it.
man. Tell me,
Yeah,
I want to ask him about what he has going on today.
Go ahead.
That's like far as like when we
Music, film, everything.
film, just life in general. But what because fans love y'all and they don't go nowhere. They just watch and wait. You know.
So it's a lot, right? So I hope I don't forget anything. 'Cause I'm active. Like I said, learn from Tupac now.
You're a workaholic.
Yeah, I am. Gotta keep it
Keep it
rocking.
rocking.
Right? So I know one of the things that I'm really proud of. My book is
Okay.
actually going to come out this year.
Come on now.
You know,
What's it called?
It's called A DU Party Don't Stop.
Okay.
Right. So it's not what a lot of people would think it is, which is a hip hop book or a book about Digital Underground and Shock G. It's I call it more of like an American history story because my parents were in the Black Panther Party, so I went to the Oakland Community School. Huey P. Newton gave me my diploma when I graduated from that school. So it starts in the 60s.
Wow.
When that happened, and my parents and my father joined the party. That's why I moved from Philly to Oakland.
Wow.
Because they asked him to come there for the Black Panther Party. Then so it's me growing up in that environment in the 70s and then being a preteen teenager having to navigate through the whole crack epidemic, right? And then going into the early 90s with Digital Underground and Tupac, you know what I mean? So
down through
I'm bringing
there.
you through
Stages.
decades of life with somebody who actually experienced it.
Right.
You know, I actually did these things. And, I kind of used to joke, it's like, I'm almost like a hip hop, what's his name? Run, Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
Because there's a lot of things that happen in hip hop. I was actually present when certain things happen. So
yeah.
I tell these stories in my book.
That's
so I
hard.
just bring you all the way through.
That's
right.
nice.
And then it's crazy because the book actually stops because I wrote the book. What's funny is when I started the book was when I was on tour with Scarface.
Wow.
On the tour bus.
You started the book.
We started the book. That's when I started it. So this is like 2016, 2017.
Wow.
Okay.
That's hard.
So
Took
the
you a
book
while.
actually is well what happened is I completed the book and then fell out with the publisher. And it took me 3 years in court just to get the rights back to my
Wow.
own book.
Man.
And a lot of people was like, man, you didn't put the book out, what you done? I was like, I really had to go to court to get the rights to my life back.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And spent a lot of money doing it.
So now you know what not to do this time going forward to protect you from that.
Yes, absolutely.
Because choosing the right publishers is key, right?
It is, and you can also self-publish. And
That's what
2017 isn't 2025.
Exactly.
There are a lot more tools and things that are accessible for you to do anything,
That's real.
right? So,
So that's what you're doing is self-publishing this time?
I don't want to say everything because I still
Okay,
got
cool.
some things going, but it's
Okay,
definitely
cool.
coming out this year, right? And I'm only telling you that is because it's my life up to 2020.
Okay.
Right. So what happened was I wrote the book, and then when I got the rights back was right in the middle of the pandemic, right? And Trump was in office during the first term, and I wrote 2 extra chapters just what that was like. So it's me in the middle of that, how I was feeling and what was going on, and then I stopped. Right.
Wow.
So here we are now, and people are like, well, why don't you update it? And I'm like, I don't need to because those stories are never going to change.
That's right.
Like that
You
actually
have a
happened.
part 2
That's
added
what I'm
on
saying.
to
When I wanna- if I want to continue, then I can
Right.
talk about what happened from 22 until
whenever.
2055,
That's
whatever
real.
that is, right? So, it's with anything, like we don't go back and rewrite, add on to the story of Malcolm X or George Washington. That actually happened.
Exactly.
So
Right.
my life actually happened.
That's real.
Up until that point. So I believe that it's that. So if you want to know what that experience is like, and the reason I wrote it is because everybody was like, dang man, you got so many stories.
You got a lot of
You got
stories.
something, you know something about everything. And you talk about it, right?
That's right.
Why don't you write a book? And I was like, kind of right?
No, exactly
So that's
right.
what I did. So even like some of the things that we talked about today, I go a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard for me because I like to talk.
Yeah.
So
Like
I shouldn't
me.
be saying all of that.
Yeah.
That, right? So I also have new music.
New music. Good
out.
stuff.
Right now I got a single out with Guap Dad 4000.
Okay.
And my guy Excellence is out of Chicago, right? And we actually put together a whole album where, you know, he's from Chicago. He's a Grammy winning producer.
Yeah.
Right? He's done shit with Kanye. He got a
catalog.
catalog, right? Look him up, Excellence.
Okay.
Right? But we did an album called Midway. And that's the airport in west side of Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the connection between the Bay and Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's produced by him. You know, I got young artist Sweet Juices on there. I got Cold Hard from Crucial Conflict.
Wow,
on that thing with
Crucial
me.
Conflict, Cold Hard.
Yep. I
Seen the
got,
boys in Chicago.
Yeah, I've got the video already done.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
That's hard.
And I'm actually gonna do vinyl for that project.
Yeah.
Right.
That's hard. I like that.
Yep. And then I have another project that's already ready. It's about to go, and it's going to be on a platform called Tapioca.
Okay.
Which you use your phone. It uses the NFC technology.
Okay. Okay.
It's near field communication, and you use your credit card tap to pay. Well, this is tap to play.
Oh,
Hey.
Right? So now you buy the car. So you remember growing up, we had albums and cassettes and CDs.
That's
something
right.
that is tangible that you can hold in your hand. So now these are cards like credit cards, but they have the artwork. But you tap it to your phone, and it opens up a standalone platform that has not only music, but I put pictures, credits, videos, and whatever it is on this card. And this first one, I'm only pressing up like 500. So there's only 500.
500. Yeah. Exclusive.
Right, it's
Limited.
exclusive, limited, and anytime I want, I can be like, check it. I just dropped a new song on there. So it's almost like
Oh, so they can keep that one and you
I
can keep
giving
adding.
them I
Okay,
can
got
add
it.
anything I want, or if I want to, because I do have dumerch.com. I manage and run the merchandise.
Come on
for Digital
now.
Underground. If it ain't
That's
for
nice, too. I like it.
dumerch.com, then it's not official Digital Underground. So for me, I can be like, check the platform. I just dropped 40% discount.
Yeah.
Whoever, if you come to a Digital Underground show, you show me that you're holding that card, 40% off.
Wow.
Or if I throw a party in Dallas, right? Whoever got that card, you come up to the front, show it to me. I'll buy you Shock G Forever Golden Ale, which is
Man.
the beer that we have.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just all about tying everything in together.
I like it.
So, and then also as an artist, because we know that we're getting raped by these streaming services. So these are other ways
To create revenue.
to create revenue and to control your art.
And not
Right.
only that, to keep your people, your fans,
Yeah, and
engaged.
it's a direct
keep them
connection, right?
It's direct to consumer when you look at it
direct
that
to
way.
consumer.
That's right.
Because you're getting this card, and
You're staying
I'm telling
connected.
you, and then you can reach out to me and tell me what you want.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, all right, you can reach out to me. I might have three remixes of a song.
Yeah.
Which version should we do? But only the people that are holders can give me comments. I might just decide to do a members only Zoom call just to pop in and talk to y'all. So where we can be on a call together, but only with this exclusive
I think
community
that's cool.
that holds
Not only
this
is it
card.
cool, I think it's needed. I think it's going the extra mile. Most people are getting lazy. Most people will start talking about how bad streaming is, but
Right.
they're not doing nothing about
Yeah,
it.
and
you can talk about it all day, but what are you going to do about
Yeah.
it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then people, now when you do something like that and you have exclusives, now here's where, we're at an advantage because we remember what that was. A lot of these young kids can't fathom not having their music on these services because
right.
they need to be famous. That's the only way they know how to be seen and heard. Whereas I'm like, I already have a fan base, right? And it's not about, I'm not trying to prove or gain. You do want to gain new fans, but I'm really trying to do something for my existing fans.
Right.
To let them know that they appreciate it and that I want to give this to you, right? And then you think about it on the flip side, you know, say we do the math. Well, I'll let you do the math. But just say if I do 500 copies at $25, what's the math?
Shit, man.
Somebody help me.
Quick. 525. Man, quit it.
What's 500 times 25?
500 times 25. You
It's
got
really
the phone.
it's really 5 times 25 and add the 2 zeros.
We'll do it.
125. 125. That's
We
We ain't
1.2.
stupid, but it's something.
No,
Yes.
we look real crazy.
I
That
know we
phone
do.
got us stupid. I'm
It
tell you
do.
what it
It
is.
do.
Because I'm right now.
But it's probably
I'm at-
like something like 12,500, whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, right? But whatever that is, you know, like you said, 500, right? You got to sell them. You got to do 1 million streams to make $4,000. So what do I have the likelihood of reaching 4,000 new people? Listen to this old nigga, or do I get 500 motherfuckers that already know me and be like, hey man, I did this for you?
Exactly.
It's
You know what I
guys.
mean? Because I'm
Because those are loyal.
yeah, loyal, and I'm past the stage of wanting to be famous, or you know,
Keep
you know,
expanding and keep.
Yeah, it's crazy because you know you see these, and it's mostly younger people.
It is.
I see people say on your show, you interview somebody and you ask them, like say you asking me about Tupac,
Yeah.
right? And then I see comments, oh man, that old nigga just want to stay relevant. He keep a Tupac in his mouth and all that. Or another artist saying that person wants to be relevant.
Yeah.
When I don't care about
It's your
that.
history.
Yeah, it is. You asked me the question.
Yeah.
Right? And then at the end of the day, what does that even mean?
I think the main thing is, man, I don't like I talk about Pimp all the time, talk about Tupac all the time. We got to keep these guys' name
And
alive,
you
period.
have
And
to.
I don't go by what people say because they ain't talking about nothing. The comments, some people don't, man, I should be Mark Zuckerberg. I would take comments. They would be mad at me. I'll be like, shut them down since they've been abusing the comments.
You know what? When I see comments, I don't even take them down. Because usually people attack them for me.
Right.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, for overall, I couldn't own it because I'd have been critiquing certain things. I'd be too.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't own it. I couldn't own it.
I don't look for it, and it doesn't
Doesn't bother you.
me. It
Some
doesn't
people
bother
say
me
they
at all.
don't read it. Some people say it's for. Some people read it a lot. Some people go.
Right.
I see people. DOC. He
Right.
talk back to everybody. I be seeing him talk. Once I interview him, it just goes. It keeps going.
Yeah.
But some
'Cause
people are just so metal.
But some people, he got a lot of good people
Yeah,
that's
he
talking to
got
him.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the most part, a lot of people are positive.
Positive,
when I'm
yeah.
doing things, but it just goes back to, that's why I say, like, this whole thing with Snoop, I'm not really reading it and paying attention because those people are the people that really weren't really so much on the
Correct.
side. Now, some people are disappointed, right? Now, but everybody makes mistakes.
Correct.
Now, that doesn't mean because he made this decision or this mistake that we need to keep him on that list forever,
Yeah.
right? That's with anybody.
Gotta
You know,
forgive,
some people
huh?
go to jail for 20 years. They come out. We have to give them a second chance.
Do you feel the same way about Drake? Will he be okay after all the smoke?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Yeah. I don't see what the problem is. All you got to do
But-
is put out another hit. We will forget that.
Yeah.
It's Drake who got to get past it.
And don't put Kendrick nowhere in the song and just make something
if Drake
else.
let it go and just go. Like,
The lawsuit thing is crazy because I've never seen that before.
yeah, but
I've never
that's
seen
what I'm
that in my
saying.
life.
He going, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He can get out of his own way.
He'll be all right.
He'll be all right, but maybe he can't.
It's
but-
mental, ain't it?
Yeah, but that
It's mental.
doesn't. All of that didn't change my opinion on Drake.
Right.
Me neither.
I like the Drake records.
He's
I never
talented.
thought Drake was a better rapper than Kendrick. So this battle didn't change my opinion
Yeah.
on Drake.
They
It's
were
just
two
like-
different type. I didn't even see why them going at
But
each other. They were
this
two
is what
different
I'll
type
say-
of artists.
This is what I'll say about Drake. And a lot of people, I give Drake at least the respect is that he tried it.
yeah.
A lot of niggas are hide behind. I ain't got to do that and da da da. He tried it. At least he
But he
jumped
knocked
out.
a lot
jumped
of
out
he
there.
knocked a lot of dudes off early on too. He knocked some dudes off before
Oh,
this.
yeah,
He
I
knocked
mean,
some heads
yeah.
off.
Like even because remember him and Meek.
Meek, he
gave
killed Meek.
at work.
See what I'm saying?
'Cause
So he felt-
I was in Philly when Back to Back was out. They was jamming that
See
thing.
what I'm saying? And Meek
That thing
didn't
was-
sue, did he?
No, he didn't.
Let me stop, man.
Hey, listen. So, you know, like I said, all he gotta do is make another one,
It'll be all right.
and it'll be all right. If he just act like it, he's like, sometimes you gotta lean into it.
Man.
Like, damn, he got me. Whatever.
Man,
I gotta say this.
I'm finna
Hold
get
on.
him out of here.
I know that, but I gotta ask this because I know during the whole conversation you spoke briefly about your mom and your dad. So I know that they were together and they raised you together, right?
No.
They were separated.
Yes. Shortly after they moved to California.
Oh, okay. So
Well, so my dad moved to California first. Me and my mom were still in Philly.
okay,
He came out to Oakland, and then I think the next year is when he sent for us.
okay.
And then,
And then how long after that they split?
bro, I was like 3.
Oh, okay.
I just know by the time I knew shit, they were together.
Okay,
It's like, what?
I'm
But
going over
but
the
he was
house.
still a part of your life, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because when you're talking about a Black Panther and all of that, so I know that
so,
he came.
so even though they weren't together, I was raised. I actually had 3 parents. I have 2 moms. And a
okay,
dad.
because he remarried.
He didn't remarry, but
he had somebody.
But he had somebody, and that is my mother as well.
Very
Okay.
important in your life.
And did your mom
Absolutely.
have somebody
and
else?
her
too?
and my mother are very tight.
Okay.
So all 3 of them raised me together
Okay.
in conjunction with each other.
That's awesome.
Not like go over there and he over there.
Yeah, no, they
Wow.
rock with you. They rock with you.
They all like, hey,
And it's rare in today's society that you see that because a lot of times whenever, he leaves and have somebody else, this person right here bickers and try to poison your
that's
mind
why you got to
against.
read my book because I tell you
It's
how
coming.
you
It's
talk.
coming.
I'll
It's
tell you how
coming.
to
It's
do it.
coming.
Okay.
Right? But yeah, so I was fortunate. I have 3 parents.
Was your mom also in the Black Panther Party as
She
well?
was briefly.
Okay, so tell me, so what did you think about a Black Panther Party? What did you see with your parents going?
Well, one thing I talk about is that, because as an adult, like even just yesterday, Erica Huggins, I don't know if you guys know that, she was the director of the Oakland Community Learning Center. Her book just came out. I got it. So things like that, I know what I thought as a kid.
Yeah,
right?
what
But
did
then
you-
you grow up and then you read about what was really happening. And of course, my parents tell me what was really going on. So I
Right.
know a lot of things now that I didn't know. But what I say is, because when I was growing up, I went to the Black Panther Party school. We stayed at the dormitories and I was with my
Okay.
parents. So I didn't know. I always tell people I didn't know about the Black Panther Party, but all I knew was the Black Panther Party. I didn't know there was anything else to compare it to.
Okay,
Unless the only time I knew any type of contrast or something was different was when I would go to Philadelphia in the summer and stay with my grandmother and my aunts. That then it was different because once or twice I had to go to school out there. But when I went to school, every time I would go to school outside of that school, you take the aptitude test, they would put me up like 2 grades.
really?
Because we were learning at
a higher level.
a much higher level.
Wow.
So so I was I was like 2 grades higher.
And they were
Had a
teaching.
learning
They were
aptitude.
teaching. Would they teach you more about the Black culture and everything else?
Absolutely.
Compared to in the schools, you're
Right,
not
so
hearing about.
when I was in elementary, I knew I knew about Marcus Garvey. I was reading Malcolm X's book when I was like 11. You know what I mean? Like we learned about our culture,
Right.
Right. So
I like
what
that.
was amazing to me is in the late '80s when all of the big Black medallions and everything came out, and it was all Black power,
Yeah,
and
it was.
everybody was. So, and here's the thing, right? So all of that was going on, and everybody talking about the Black Power stuff, and I was like, "That's dope," but I wouldn't, I wasn't the Black medallion
Right.
thing. What I didn't know is that it was these. You guys were in college, but you were just learning it, so it was fresh and it was new.
You had lived
I
it.
didn't know that you guys didn't know that.
Right, you were already
'Cause
living
I
it.
already- Yeah, so it was like, oh yeah, that's right. They talking about Marcus Garvey. And,
Yeah.
and and
Yeah. You really living it.
Sada
Yeah.
Shakur and
You
all
like by
this
the time
stuff.
somebody get this popping.
Well, it wasn't even that. I just didn't know that you didn't know. I thought everybody
Because
grew
he
up
was in
learning
his
it.
bubble and he
Yeah.
didn't know what was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it. The only time that I kind of had that sort of thing happen to me was like when I was one time I was I was maybe second or third, however old I was. I had my grandmother kept me, and they put me in school, and in that school, you had to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I didn't know it because they didn't teach us that.
Right.
And they thought that I was bullshitting, so I got sent home. I got in trouble because I wouldn't do it, but I literally didn't know. I didn't know the Pledge of Allegiance.
Because the Black Panther Party don't believe in it.
Yeah, they didn't teach that.
They didn't teach
us that. So I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I still don't know it. I don't know.
Never learned it.
Yeah, I never learned it. It wasn't.
So when you seen Colin Kaepernick take a knee, you's like, I don't know it, no way. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it.
Here's the thing about that. I was confused because the reason that Colin Kaepernick actually took a knee is because somebody on the team who was in the military said that's the respectful way to protest.
That's right. That's what he said.
So he actually was being respectful, as opposed to sitting down,
and not doing
anything. So that was kind of weird with that.
It's crazy how it is, man. I'm gonna get you out of here, man. Man, first of all, man, thank you all again for coming on Boss Talk 101. I pray that I get to sit down with you again in Dallas. We're going to try to get you down to the store.
Yep.
Plus, you got people down there, so you should be
down there.
You ain't been. When last time you been to Texas, man?
Shit, we had a layover.
I don't count that. I don't count that. No, I'm not doing this with you.
Dirk Nowitzki thing in the airport. No, but for real though, my wife, she's like, we gotta go to Papa Do's or something.
Oh, they Papa Do's popping.
Yeah, she never been.
He love Papa Do's.
I go there all the time.
She never been.
You gotta take her, man. You know that.
We gotta get down there. Like you said, we can't do it in the airport.
No. You gotta come. You gotta come chill. We gotta set it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I tell you again, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on our show. We out here in Los Angeles, California, man. We loving it, man. And this is the icing on the cake. I hope we did you justice on Boss Talk 101. This is a family-oriented show where we try to keep this thing going with genuineness, man. We trying to figure this stuff out, man. So thank you for coming on the show. We love you.
Yep.
It's been another great segment of Boss Talk 101. Where the bosses talk.
And then let me just say,
let's get it.
Because like I said, I know I do so much sometimes I forget.
Oh, you do a lot.
If you really want to know what's going on, just tap in with me at MoneyB69 on Twitter and Instagram.
MoneyB69.
MoneyB69, like the position.
Oh, no. Boss Talk 101, man. Let's get it.
And we out.